行くぞ。はっGenocide Kata!
Hello everyone, what's happening? This is Forgo, and today we're going to talk about Topaz, where to get them and what to use them for. So, you get Topaz from the Epic Quest. You go into Pandora's Door, Chapter 5 here, Episode Mission. You can actually get Topaz by clearing with fighters 45 cost or below here in the Epic Quest missions. And you'll get a total of 600 of these things in this specific Epic Quest. And then when you get out of here and you go into the False Orochi and go to Chapter 4, you'll be able to get another 450 of these Topaz, which gives you a total of 1,050. Now, what can you do with 1,050 Topaz? Well, if you go into the shop, click on Topaz here, you can actually purchase any of these items. You got a battle card selector, you got the Fest Memory selector, which is what I would highly advise all of you to spend your Topaz on, if anything. You got imprint stones, hammers, you have this imprint stone unpairing kit, which I actually need to test. You got the K of special summons. I mean, there's a lot of goodies in here, but the thing is, this is very RNG based. The K of special mission, the K of all-star fighter summons, which for 150 Topaz isn't bad, but you're only going to get 1,050. Now, you might notice that I have 1,400 of these. And the reason that I have so many of them is because I purchased this second item here. The first one was $80 for this one here. And then you can buy this one here in the second place. I did this whenever Pretty Brian came in the game, Brian. And then I did it for Geese as well. So what this has allowed me to be able to do is get 100 Topaz a day for 7 days. And this purchase was $10. So it actually, you know, for all these resources and for these resources, it costs a total of $90, which is pretty pricey. But once you buy this one, this is actually a really good deal. So, I mean, 700 Topaz is freaking awesome. And I'm using it so I can get best memories. So we'll jump back into the Topaz. Now, really, in my opinion, it really depends on where you're at in the game as far as what you should go for. But I really think it should be your best memories. I think this should be the #1 place that you're going to spend those Topaz on. I would save them, especially since you're getting 1,050. And we'll get another Epic Quest in the future, and we'll get more Topaz. But this is really where I would prioritize. Maybe you're having bad luck in the game. Maybe you're not getting the best memories that you want from the United Summons. So the first thing we want to establish is what characters you don't want to pick. So when you go into the event quest here, you can actually get memories for Kula, Original Zero, Kyo, Shermie, and Orochi Chris. Who, by the way, Orochi Chris has the dot explosion. So Andy's a yellow type, so he's actually really good for the Immortal Most dungeon. I haven't tested him because mine isn't leveled up, but I would imagine he's really great. And by the way, so's Swimsuit K. So's Yashiro. So something to keep in mind. But all these memories, you do not want to use that Fest Memory Selector for. You can farm for these guys, you can farm these tokens, and you'll eventually be able to get these memories. So these guys are off limits in the Fest Memory Selector, in my opinion. Now, before we jump into Fest Memories, the Fest Special Battle Card Selector. Now, some of you may need this. I mean, they got Nameless's 3PG in here. You got Ignis in here. I mean, you got Kim in here. I mean, all these cards. But I still think those Fest Memories are the way to go. I think it's more important to try to level up your powerful characters to get through the game modes than it is having that card. Now, people could argue this, but I just think having Fest Memories is more important. I mean, if you need a card, then by all means do it. You know, it's your game. Play it how you want. But my advice really would be to wait on your Fest Memories. I mean, right now, I need a card for Kyo. I need a card for Pretty Big. Really bad. I need a card for something fierce. And I could get it if I really wanted to. But I'm just holding out and hoping I get it from the United Banner because I'd rather use my Topaz for Fest Memories. That's just my choice. That's just what I prefer to do. But maybe some of you, this is where you'd want to spend your Topaz because there are a lot of great options. You got Psyche's 3PG, I mean, you got a lot of great cards in this thing. But it is 1200 Topaz. So, you know, people that aren't spending money in the game, you're probably, I mean, more than likely, unless we have some kind of event where you get Topaz, you might not have enough Topaz to even do this. And these gold hammers, I definitely wouldn't do that. And these imprint stones, I guess maybe you could do it. I mean, it is an imprint stone selection box, but the thing is, these are mystery boxes. So you have a chance of getting 5. It's just, I don't like the RNG in that. Personally, I wouldn't do this. I would really stick with this right here. So let's talk about these guys. And you can buy this 4 times. Now, I'm going to go through these characters and give you my thoughts on where they're going to be useful and how far they can take you in the game. Orochi here, he really just isn't in there, guys. He's a great character, but he just isn't in there. Unfortunately, he's not going to be really that useful. He might be good against the Elemental Typhoon because he does have the type advantage. But you don't need a purple balance team for Reviving Hell's Dungeon past tier 40. So that kind of decreases his relevance. He does have a nice long 3PG that you can get from the Epic Quest, so maybe he's a consideration. Ignis here is absolutely amazing because he has shock damage, so he can actually be really good against the Spider Robot. He can be really good against the new Immortal Most because he's the same type. And he deals massive damage. I've already seen a team hitting that 500 million using Ignis on the team. Plus, you could put Pretty Zero in the leadership, who actually has the type advantage against Immortal Most. Ignis will get the PG gain from her. He's just an insane character to have. And you'll need a purple attack team for Reviving Hell's Dungeon past tier 40. Nameless really would be at the top of my list for this memory selector if you're having problems getting memories. And again, it really depends on what characters you have, how far you have them awakened, as to which ones you want to go for. But Nameless really would be at the top of the list. He has the long PG, the long ultimate skill. He's great for Immortal Most. He's actually really good for Immortal Victor. Even though he has the type disadvantage, he does have that long animation on his ultimate skill, and that's why he's good. He just stalls the timer. Plus, you will need a purple defensive team past tier 40 and Reviving Hell's Dungeon. And he's an absolute must for your team. Vanessa, she's a purple attack, so she's going to be absolutely wonderful Reviving Hell's Dungeon. She's going to be amazing for it because you're going to need a purple attack team once you get up above tier 40. And you're going to need a purple defensive team too. So, you know, the purple attack and purple defensive characters are very, very relevant because you can use them in Reviving Hell's Dungeon to help get those experience balls. And we've talked about this before. So you can keep awakening and leveling up your characters so you can do better in other game modes. So they're actually really great characters. I'm not going to go over a single one. Leona, unfortunately, I think she falls low on the totem pole. I don't think she's really that good for it, unfortunately, guys. Yeah, Shiro, the same thing. Actually, I think he's below Leona. Original Zero, you can get him from the advents that we got going on. Mukai, you do need a blue attack team once you get past tier 40, so he's actually one to consider. He's actually can be good against the Spider Robot. He's good for the events. He's not really the greatest for Elemental Typhoon or Immortal Victor. Rock is a terrific character. You know, he's kind of one of those characters that he's super great, super strong, but he's a blue balance. And we just don't need a blue balance team past tier 40, which is kind of a bum deal. It kind of lowers his relevance, but he does have a 3PG card. You might be able to use him against the dungeons because he does have a 3PG card, but he will have a type disadvantage against Immortal Most. So he's just one of those characters. I mean, he probably could be decent against the Spider Robot because he is fast. He runs through his animation really quick. He does a lot of damage. So maybe that would be something to consider. Mature, a blue attack. So she's going to be very relevant for above tier 40 in Reviving Hell's Dungeon. She'll be an absolute must. Plus she deals chill damage. And she has a 3PG guard. And could prove to be very useful for Elemental Typhoon. Rugal here. Unfortunately, he kind of falls low on the totem pole for most of the game modes. I mean, he's decent in Advent. Really, PvP is really kind of where his shine is for the most part for a lot of players. Don't get me wrong, Rugal's strong. He's got a lot of damage, a lot of power. He's got hyper armor, reset on his first skill. He's a monstrous character. But the because he's a red attack fighter, you can only go so far in reviving Hell's Dungeon, and I got mine at 4-star. I've invested all them resources in him, and yeah, I don't really use them. I don't use them in Immortal Victor. I don't use them in an Elemental Typhoon. I don't use them for the Spider Robot, although I might try that. Yeah, because he does a grab skill on his special and ultimate skill. He does install timers. He's really just a good character for PvP. Chrysalid and Keel, you will need balance teams. However, Keel you can get from the Advent, so I would not pick him at all because you can get him absolutely for free just by farming him. But Chrysalid could be a very valuable character because you do need a red balance team for past tier 40 and reviving Hell's Dungeon. And I mention this a lot because in every video I always think there may be a new viewer, someone that didn't see the past video, so that's why I always regurgitate those talking points. Geese, unfortunately, he is a red attack fighter, but the thing about Geese is he does have shock damage explosion. So you can actually use him for Immortal Most, which is terrific. I've actually seen a team hit that 500 million with Geese on the team. He is an absolute monster in that because even though he doesn't have super armor up all the time, he gets it on a 15-second cooldown from doing his first or third skill because they're blast skills. He does so much damage. He's got a nice damage bump when he does critical hits. He just does so much damage, and his 5 PG is amazing that you can actually put in a lot of work. And he's also really good for the Spider Robot as well. So he's actually one to consider. He won't do that well in reviving Hell's Dungeon once you get to a certain point, but he is relevant in other game modes. And he's just a bad mofo. Pretty Big is actually very good to pick for this because she is a red defensive fighter, and you will need a red defensive team when you get past tier 40 of reviving Hell's Dungeon. Plus, she's just an amazing character. You know, she got hyper armor, interrupt on her hyper armor skill. She has the poison damage. I mean, she's just a really good character. However, it kind of ends in reviving Hell's Dungeon for her. And I'm focusing mainly on PvE game modes because that's where you're going to be able to get your resources to level up these characters to awaken them further. In PvP, she's top tier. But in PvE, she's a good character, but she doesn't really put in work against Immortal Most or Elemental Typhoon. I mean, maybe Spider Robot, she might be all right. She isn't good against Immortal Victor. So yeah, it's kind of the caveat to her. And Lady Zero, another red balanced fighter who is relevant when you get past tier 40 or reviving Hell's Dungeon. So that's a character you might want to consider. And then Genitz. Genitz is absolute monster. Even though you don't need a green attack team for reviving Hell's Dungeon, you only need a green defensive team and a green balance team. Genitz is so strong against those other game modes. Like, I mean, Immortal Victor, he's number 1. Against the Spider Robot, he's amazing because of the damage that he can deal. He doesn't have shock damage, he doesn't have chill damage, but you can easily put a Zhang Fei card on him. And by the way, you can do that for some of the other characters I mentioned already as well. You can put a Zhang Fei card on him to apply chill damage, and then give him a shock damage striker. And he'll be just fine for it. He just deals insane damage, lots of PG gain from his core effect. He's just an absolute monster, so he's one to maybe consider. Shermie, you can get her from the event. Ash is a great leadership for your green fighters. Actually be really good against Immortal Victor because of his PG gain from his leadership. You will need a green defensive team for our past tier 40 and reviving Hell's Dungeon. So that is, he really could be a great character to pick. Adelhay is actually really good against Immortal Victor because he does have a 3 PG card. He is a green type. He does have the type advantage. He deals shock damage. He's actually good against the Spider Robots. He's actually a really good character for most game modes. He can only go so far in reviving Hell's Dungeon, but he's relevant in other PvE game modes, so he's one to maybe consider as well. Nakaruru, a green balance type, so she's actually relevant for our past tier 40 and reviving Hell's Dungeon. Really great character. I mean, I've talked about all these characters before. I just made videos about all of them, so I really don't want to go into too much detail on all of them. Elizabeth is a green balance fighter, so having her on the green balance team will be an absolute must when you get past tier 40 and reviving Hell's Dungeon. She would be a good character to consider. Iori actually would be a good character to consider too because I've seen people clear over 500 million against the Immortal Most, they use him as the leadership or they use him on the team. He deals insane damage. He's got the type advantage. Plus, you will need a yellow attack team for past tier 40 and reviving Hell's Dungeon. He's actually very useful character. Orochi Chris, again, you can pick him from the event, so you don't want to pick him. Terry, unfortunately, I just think he falls low on the totem pole when it comes to PvE. You know, he's a yellow balance type, which you don't need past tier 40. He does have a 3PG card, and he could prove to be useful against the Immortal Most because he does have the type advantage. But I haven't really tested it out, but he does give a nice support from his core effect for your other team members to have extra damage. So that's something to think about. Lady Chang, you will need a yellow defensive team and in Reviving Hell's Dungeon once you get past tier 40. So she's one to really consider. Pretty Zero, you need a yellow attack team. Plus she's great for Immortal Most. She's an absolute monster in there. So she's actually a really great character to go for as well. Psyche, another yellow defensive fighter that you will need past tier 40 in Reviving Hell's Dungeon. He probably could put in work against Immortal Most as well, I would think, because he does have the type advantage. He does have a nice long animation on his 3PG card. I mean, Psyche could prove to be very useful, but it really is just going to depend on where you're at in the game, what characters you already have. But I thought I'd give you all my insight on which you should choose with your Topaz. And again, I really would skip all the rest of these things. I really would just focus on the Fest memory. That's just my advice. But if you need a card and you got 1200 Topaz, absolutely go for it. Play the game how you want. Pick whatever you want. Pick the Topaz Fighter Summon tickets, whatever you want. It's your game. But that's just my advice as far as the memories that you should be picking. So hopefully this will help some of you out there. So let me know how you're doing in the game. Let me know what cards you've gotten, what characters you've gotten. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.